Yay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Worldhoppers. This is a collaborative channel that is centered around having group discussions about books and bookish things. And today we're going to talk about some anticipated releases for the next quarter, the last half of the year. And we have a few prompts, but we're also probably just going to mention some sequels and books in general that we're interested in. But because I just said sequel, we'll go ahead and start with that one. Sadly, Abby is first, and I know she's not sure she has very many. But even if it's already come out, you can mention one that has come out if you want to tweak this and just say a sequel that's come out that was really good or something.
I mean, I'm a bit of a stickler to the rules. I guess it's not quite come out yet because it's coming out right at the end of June, and that is Locklands by Robert Jackson Bennett, the third book in the Foundryside trilogy. So it's still sort of first half of the year, but I think here in the UK it comes out on like the 28th of June, so almost second half of the year. And I have just really, really enjoyed that whole trilogy. So I'm very excited to see how it's all going to conclude. And I really hope he sticks to the landing. And I'm looking forward to Sophia's reminders of books 1 and 2 that she's going to send me when she rereads them, because I'm not planning to reread.
Oh, you have a reminder of the first and second book?
Well, no, I'm going to do one because I'm gonna reread them probably next week or so, and then I'll be giving Abby little prompts as I read, so that.
So I just finished Locklands a few hours ago, and it is it is amazing in my opinion. But also, I wish I had kind of a recap of the first and second book. As always,
that's what Sophia's going to provide for me.
Yeah,
I saw just this morning a review of that third book, and I think the reviewer said the first 2 they gave 5 stars, and the third one they gave, I think, 3.75.
Yeah, I think after reading this one, it's kind of understandable, but I loved it personally, but it is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah,
I mean, they all are.
Yeah, they said they sometimes, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something similar to that, where so much is going on, and they almost wish they just could take a sec because it gets so intense.
And I guess so crazy. It's so
crazy. The progression of their abilities, I guess, is to a point where they almost felt like. But I think their biggest thing was it was in the beginning, how it starts, and then they liked where it went from there.
Yeah, because Locklands begins 8 years after the second book, so yeah, it immediately started that way. So yeah, a lot of things have happened, and we didn't get to see them. That's kind of. Yeah, so, yeah.
I wondered if it would time jump again, because there was a time jump going into book 2 as well.
Yeah, on the benefit, I think it showed that there is a very big scope to the story, but at the same time, maybe it could have been 4 books, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and time skips are tricky.
Yeah,
I know.
It's tricky.
I read City of Brass, and by the end, I was like, oh, okay, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And then book 2 started, and it was like 5 years later. And I was like, what? And I was frustrated because where we left off, I really wanted to see what was going to happen next. So when it got to 5 years later, now it works for some series, I think, especially something, I know this isn't a book, but in Arcane, partway through the season, there's a time jump, and that's a perfect time jump because the first 3 episodes are essentially their own arc. The next 3 are almost their own arc, and the last 3. So I felt like that time skip served the story really well, but other times it's almost like you have to accept it begrudgingly.
Oh, I wasn't begrudging about the time skip in Kingdom of Copper.
No, me neither.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But I do understand what Elle meant, though. For example, if the ending of Arcane, for those of you who watch it, it is a huge cliffhanger, right? But what if the second season begins like 10 years after that? Because we sometimes want to see what happened immediately after.
Right.
Yeah.
Arcane's so good. Sorry.
Yeah, I
was telling
Arcane.
Sophia like last week, I need to watch Arcane. I was telling her that last week. So
I've heard, okay, I just found out there's this artist who just does the most amazing. Oh, Kitty, sorry. There's an artist, they do amazing artwork for Witcher, for Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, but recently they've been doing a ton of Arcane art. And I saw that they like me, are very, very obsessed with bi. And apparently there's this new term. I'm not the only one. There's a term called bisexual instead of like bisexual. Like people that are attracted to bi. And I'm like, yes, I don't know what it is. It's a phenomenon. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about bi that just brings this certain emotion out into people.
Bisexual.
Anyway,
I'll let you know when I get there.
I would imagine that you will also like. I had somebody comment. They're like, Vi doesn't even accomplish anything, and they start talking about Jace, and they're like, Jace is awesome because he like invents all these cool things, and he hooks up with the most beautiful woman. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess. I'm glad you like Jace, but anyway, I'm very off track. Patrick, what's this?
I think this one is very popular, but this is indeed my most anticipated release of the year, and it is The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's been 6 years after the Bands of Mourning, and since then, Sanderson has released so many books in Cosmere, and I think reading this one, yeah, it will be amazing after all the Cosmere books that have been released.
Yeah. I mean, we have a prompt about popular ones, so that
that kind of counts.
Sure. Yeah, I know Angela from Literature Science Alliance is going to be hosting a read-along of Second Era, so I'll be participating in that. And Michael Knipp will be doing it, Jess Owens. But anyway, so I'm excited to reread those. I still like Era 1 more, but I am very interested. And plus, with the Cosmere becoming so interwoven, I think that we're going to get a lot of things in that fourth book.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it's been 6 years. You're right. He writes so many books that you almost forget. Now, I have not forgotten how long it's been for The Rhythmatist. Oh my God.
No one can figure out how long it's been for The Rhythmatist. And it's just getting ridiculous.
I almost in general has a difficulty or maybe reluctance in completing a series. I don't know.
I almost wonder if Rhythmatist is going to be one that someone else writes.
I think he said that because he said that he wants to get someone with either Aztec heritage or knowledge to potentially help him write it, which to me means co-write it, which means write it and he'll edit it.
Right.
But kind of like funny how you just said that he's nervous to finish series and he's going to be finishing Mistborn Era 2 this year.
Yeah.
Then next year he's got the end of Skyward and the end of Stormlight first arc. So
I think it is time. People have been complaining about it. Me.
I am people.
I remember when I mentioned I was going through his State of Sanderson, and he said that the 5th Stormlight book would probably be in 2023. And my reaction was like, and I thought it was clear that I was excited because that's not that long to wait after, especially with how big those are. But people were like, yeah, right. It's so annoying. We have to wait so long. And I'm like, that's not what that reaction was. That was an excited reaction, not like, come on already. Aren't you doing any work on it?
Let's not forget the dude is publishing 11 books in 18 months. So
I wouldn't be surprised if book 5 gets pushed a bit because he's falling behind with writing it because of all of the second drafts and stuff of the secret projects.
Now he's busy playing Elden Ring.
He had a video, right? Come out.
Yeah.
I almost want to do a video just like chatting with him about Elden Ring and be like, what class did you pick and what was your play style? Anyway, that would be a very, very niche thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Joanna. Again,
the 2 sequels I was going to pick haven't picked. And the third one I have on my list, I feel like I shouldn't say it because it's yours, Elle, so I'm not going to say it.
Fury.
Yeah, I haven't read the second one yet, but I know I'm going to like immediately pre-order that book and then just like read it. So in all reality, I don't have any other sequels, so.
Oh no!
Yeah, I haven't been really reading that much fantasy this year, so I'm like, I don't know what's coming out, and I'm not putting anything on anticipated because will I read it? I don't know. So,
well, you can say Winds of Winter, you know.
Stop it! I almost did, and then I was like, they're all gonna laugh. So, House of the Dragon. There we go. I'm excited to watch House of the Dragon.
I am actually interested to see how they go about that.
I am so excited. Like, I watched the trailer the other day. I had goosebumps. I almost started crying, and I was like, I'm definitely not over it. I just got this on my arm, so I'm not over Game of Thrones. So
Are any of you planning on watching the Sandman adaptation?
No.
I'm still not sure, but I haven't read the graphic novel.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I think I'll just watch 1 or 2 episodes and see how I feel about it.
I know a lot of people love
Yeah.
Sandman comics, and Sean did not.
Oh no.
He really didn't like them at all, and that's a very, very unpopular opinion. Most people really love them, but anyway, just because you mentioned, so I was curious if that would be one for anybody. I am very excited for Fury Song, which comes out very soon, especially with where book 2 leaves off, because there is this very momentous thing that occurs at the end of book 2. And just because the whole concept is this exploration of a shift in government and a different kind of, before it was a very specific, these are the rulers, and then now you're breaking that apart and you're trying to make it more equal, but then that comes with its own set of problems, and you have people from the past who preferred the previous form of government who want to bring that back, and so they're trying to jeopardize and they're essentially pulling at the weaknesses of this new form of government. And so you see the consequences of revolutions, because I think in a lot of stories, you have these revolutions and you have the violence of the revolution itself, but then once you get to the end, it's kind of like, yay, and you complete it with this nice wrap up bow. And this is all about how it almost feels bleak in a sense, because you're always going to have something that's going wrong. You're always going to have some group of people that is not really being treated equally. You're going to have to make really hard decisions. What happens when there isn't enough food to go around? I think that's one of the most heartbreaking things in that series. So just where we leave off with book 2, you're like, I don't know if anything is going to work out for anybody. It's just, and I think there's, understandably, I understand where this comes from. There's this idea that YA books never get into the bleak side of things. They don't ever have consequences. Everything always wraps up really nicely. And I know that in a lot of YA books, they are kind of happier, but this is a series where even if the ending is relatively happy, how much it took to get there would still end up being, I think, kind of going against that general perception. But yes, I'm so excited for Fury Song. It's so good. Is anybody else? I know, Joanna, you just said you read Fireborn itself, but have the rest of you read it?
I've read Fireborn.
I own Fireborn.
I'm going to reread Fireborn and then read the second one and then the third one. I'm going to do back to back.
Okay, so you can give me a Fireborn recap.
I will.
And then I will read 2 and 3 back to back.
Aren't you doing a read along for them, Elle?
Yeah.
When are you doing it again?
July. So the 1st and 5th is for book 1, and then the 6th through the 10th of July is book 2. And then Jessie May and I are kind of taking it upon ourselves to go ahead and do a similar thing for the 3rd book. The publisher was like, we know you're a really big fan. Do you want to participate and read along? They're like, it's not like, it's not a sponsorship thing. It's just, we know you really like it. And I was like, okay. So awesome. I'm very excited to be rereading them. And I know I'm going to go into it and be sad. I always feel like I have to tell people, though, the first 50 pages of the first book don't seem like you're going to get the level of stakes that you do. Because it is kind of like a young people who there's a friend group and some people like kind of like these people. And, it's very youthful initially, but it's almost that much more heartbreaking when you do get into the sad stuff, because you're seeing this like peaceful, natural way of living among youth. And then that's so disrupted and they have to take on such heavy burdens that they are far too young to have to take on. Plus, they've already endured so much through the revolution itself and the trauma that came with that, and the trauma of the previous form of government toward the oppressed. And anyway, it's very good. So that's my anticipated sequel.
I'm going to stay very much on brand and say the next book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series by Shandon Messenger. It's going to be book 9. It's going to be called Stellalune. It's coming out on the 8th of November. I'm very excited. The last book ended on a cliffhanger, so I want to know what's going to happen. And yes, I will be rereading all of the books before it comes out, but they're middle grade, so it doesn't take very long to read them anyway. And I've got them on audio, so I'll just chuck them on 3 times speed and I'll be done in no time at all. But
is that the final one now, or is there one more?
No, she originally thought it was going to be, and then when she was in the process of writing it, she was like, yeah, I can't finish this properly. I need one more book, which actually I'm kind of pleased about, because 9 feels weird but 10 feels good. So
well, there's an 8.5 in there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a one by the end.
Not really.
Maybe she can fit another one in, and then it'll be kind of 12, sort of, kind of.
Exactly.
12 or 10, depending how you look at it. 11 is weird.
November's going to be a big month for you then, Sophia. With
oh yeah, I've got quite a few things in November, but it's okay. I'm fine with that.
Future Sophia's problem.
I've got the whole of October to get myself ready. It's fine.
November's already so busy in general, though. So there's always so much going on. It's before the holidays, end of the year. Anywho, a popular one, like I said, Petrick kind of had one for this as well, but a popular anticipated release, one that everybody seems to be talking about.
Elle, I'm quite glad you've put me first now, because now I don't have to worry about all of my books being stolen by other people. Because I guess the most popular one that I'm anticipating is Babel by Ara Kwang, which is out in August, so not too long away now. And I'm very excited for it. I know Petrick's already read it. I'm excited and nervous because it's set in, you said Oxford and London, haven't you, Petrick?
Yeah.
And I am from Oxford and live in London, so I really hope there aren't any inconsistencies in terms of the setting. As I feel like it would be very obvious to me.
I definitely want to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, I grew up in Oxford pretty much, so I really hope it matches my image of the place as a local.
Yeah, especially because I think this one kind of works as a historical fiction too. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I feel like a lot of people are.
RF Kwang keeps on getting more popular these days.
Yeah.
For me, I think another popular book that I'm looking forward to, it is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. It is a sci-fi book. So yeah, I'm not talking about fantasy here. It's rare, right? But yeah, I really love Dark Matter and Recursion. These two are very popular sci-fi books, and considering how much I love these two, I am also looking forward to reading Upgrade. But I don't know anything about it. I try to not read the blurb for this one. So yeah, I hope that it will be as good as these two books.
I still need to read those. I know Jade from Bedtime Bookworm really liked the she liked Dark Matter a lot. She thought it was a lot of fun. So I've been meaning to read Blake Crouch for a really long time.
And there will be a TV show or movie adaptation for this one, Dark Matter.
Oh.
Yeah. Not sure when though.
Someday, some point.
Yeah.
Well, since the most popular ones have been taken, Babel and Lost Metal and stuff, I'm going to go also a non-fantasy, and I'm going to say The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. And she's the author of The Spanish Love Deception. And we just talked about favorites, and I didn't mention that one of my favorites, but it was one of my favorite romances of the year. I just really loved it. And so I'm very excited to read her second novel.
It's funny, that's one where, that is getting an adaptation, right? The Spanish
Love Deception is, yes.
I've seen some people that think it's so good, and other people are like, it's trash. It's terrible.
It's like
one or the other.
I'll say if you like The Hating Game and The Unhoneymooners and smush them together, that's the Spanish Love Deception.
So. I think I particularly liked it. I mean, I liked it because I liked the book, I liked the romance, I liked all of it. But something that to me was very refreshing, and this is a discussion that Sophia and I have had time and time again, is how often in the Latinx community, people from Portugal and Spain are not considered Latinos. And we are very much Latinos. And so in this book, I felt very validated because the book is set in Spain, but I mean, Portugal, Spain, same island, right? So when she talks about being Latina and being from there, I'm like, yes, finally someone says it, because sometimes we feel like we're not allowed to say that we're Latinos, even though we are. And so it felt very validating to read something like that.
It is funny how much identifying what is considered that from the outside always seems to be surprising to people. Growing up in Arizona, where I live is on the border with Mexico, and my family is half Cuban. But it always people, if I tell them like, oh, we're half Cuban, they'd be like, oh, so you're Mexican? You're like, they're different. Cuba and Mexico are different countries, you know? And they're like, but like, do you speak Mexican? I'm like, okay, I don't speak Spanish. Spanish is what they speak in Cuba. It's also what they speak in Mexico. But just like English speaking people, there's different like inflections, or there's different words that are considered more negative in one place than the next. And there's differences, you know, but like, anyway. And then also the fact that they'd be like, but you're really pale. And I'm like, yep, it's that's part of, that there are some people that are pale. And like, did you take social studies? Like, do you understand how?
I mean, there was Sophia getting burnt.
Literally, I'm so pale. Sometimes in some lights, I'm blue.
Yeah, it can be quite confusing to people. So, well, maybe I'll have to read that one.
That's nice.
I also feel like everybody took the answers. I should have just kept myself first, except for I usually wait and try to go last anyway. But when I really want to get one in, I'm like, I'll go first for this one. So Babel's already been mentioned. Lost Metal's been mentioned. A popular one that is not fantasy, but I'm excited for because in this group we will be buddy reading it, would be the next Allie Hazelwood book. It's Love on the Brain. That's what it's called, right? I have it written down, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, just because I'm excited to buddy read with all of you. I think it'll be really fun.
I think it'll be really fun as well. And I'm going to be like, oh no, that was my answer.
So, I mean, I am excited for the first binding. I don't know if that can really be considered popular. I think it's more popular in maybe the adult fantasy circles. And I know Patrick's read it and loved it. Yeah. I'm nervous because I didn't love Name of the Wind, and I know it's a similar setup, and I know it's been compared to it before, but I'm hoping I like it, one, because the setting itself is different, and my main thing with Name of the Wind is I just don't like both. So I'm hoping that I'll like the character in this one, because I do like Bloodsong, which is once again that similar setup. So I'm hoping I'll really like first binding.
Patrick, can you do the I don't know, like a marketing thing for the first binding? Give me the
I really think what they marketed is already correct. So basically it is a South Asian inspired The Name of the Wind. Seriously, it is the best marketing for this book. And the thing is, I really don't know whether if you love The Name of the Wind, you will love this one or not. I'm not sure about it, but personally, from my experience, I think the reason why I love this one is because I love The Name of the Wind. But there is indeed a lot of key similarities between the two books, and I'm not surprised if people will call this a plagiarism. I'm not surprised if that will happen. But yeah, personally speaking, I think it's really good. But I am biased about framing narrative. I think that kind of book, even though The Name of the Wind is so popular, is not used often enough in fantasy. Yeah.
Is it the start of a series?
Yeah.
Or a standalone? Okay, series.
Yeah. First of a trilogy. I think the author said that he's currently contracted for a trilogy, but maybe it will be more. I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
Or maybe he'll be contracted for a trilogy and then just write 2 and then never write the 3rd
one. So maybe
then it will really be.
So I talk about this to my co-bloggers, right? Like I said that, well, there is some section where this really feels like The Name of the Wind, because the thing that happens to Kavod kind of happens one way or another to the main character as well, but just in a kind of different fashion sometimes. And then my co-blogger said that, now that's good. He can finish the series for Worldhoppers. Oh my God. So yeah, but personally, I loved it. I hope that more people will like it as well. Yeah.
I don't know if mine counts as popular, but I've started seeing it more on Instagram now, so I'm going to go with it. It's called The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. It's coming out on the 23rd of August by Sangu Mandana. I think it might be a debut, but I could be wrong about that. And it is about a witch who lives in the UK, and she has to keep the fact that she's a witch secret, but she also has social media where she pretends to be a witch, and then she thinks she's keeping her secret well, but then these people contact her and ask her to travel to this house to teach these 3 young witches how to use their powers. It feels very House in the Cerulean Sea-esque, and the UK cover looks a little bit like that kind of vibe as well. It just sounds really cute and fun, and I always like it when books are set in the UK because it doesn't happen super often, or at least not in books that I read. Usually it's kind of, completely made up worlds. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think it'll be cute.
I've seen that one. I'm curious about that one too. The next prompt is one that no one seems to be discussing, but that you're excited for and you think maybe more people need to keep their eye on.
So I don't know too much about it, but I was seeing, I think it's an Orbit publication, and they've pretty much just released 3 books by the same author called Olivia Atwater, and they're sort of Regency fairy books, and they all seem to be like quite short, and they've just done 3 in a row. I think they're all released on ebook already, and then they're doing the publications for the physical books now and over the next 3 months or something. So the first one's Half a Soul, the second one's 10,000 Stitches, and the third one's Long Shadow, and they all just seem like cute, quick fairy Regency romances, combining historical and fantasy elements.
I think that trilogy was originally self-published, I think.
I was thinking maybe it was that, because otherwise where have they gone and got like these 3 books that they're just pushing out like one a month?
Yeah, and it happens so suddenly.
Yeah, like the reviews on them look really positive. Like, there seems to be some like big named authors that have got reviews up for them on Goodreads. So yeah, I was like, these look quite good, like quite a fun if you're after like a quick read. Yeah. And I haven't really seen that many people talking about them aside from the big named authors on Goodreads.
I think I see it more often on Twitter for this one, but yeah, on other websites, on other social media, I don't see this one. Yeah, I think for me, my choice would be the last book in the Last War trilogy. I don't know if any of you have read this one or not, but the first book is We Are the Dead, and the second book is Fool's Hope. Yeah, and the third book, the third book, what's the name? The Last War, I think. It is also The Last War, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This has been one of my favorite ongoing trilogy. It is a trilogy about war, and I think one of the best thing about this series is that it involves the main characters practically involve a lot of normal people trying to survive in desperate situations, and that's probably the biggest reason why I love this one. And the action scenes, all of them are really good, and I'm so looking forward to reading the third book. Plus, the author kind of told me that I will be killed in the third book, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What were you written into the book, Patrick?
What?
Were you written in? Was a character named after you, and you're being killed off?
Yeah, I think so. That happened before in Priests of Gallows by Peter McLean. Oh my god, that one's so brutal. I didn't know why he included me. But you know what? I think that's kind of like a special thing. So hopefully my dad in this one will be great.
So it's like an aim in life, to be written into a book by an author and then killed off brutally.
Yeah. I remember in...
I came at the right moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in Priest of Gallows, it wasn't me, but someone else, my co-blogger, immediately messaged me with a screenshot of the page where, "What did you do to the author? Look at you!" And yeah, it was so brutal, but I think it is an honor. Yeah.
I want to read both of those series because you've talked very highly of them. So I'll see you die twice, Patrick. I'll see you die twice.
I haven't seen my second death yet, so yeah.
But you're like one of those people, you get to see your deaths as they unfold, and that you're still alive. So not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah.
You're like a cat, multiple lives. I guess one of mine that I'll say is, I think it's popular, but not as popular as you would expect. And I'm going back to my Taylor Jenkins Reid moment, and it's her next book. It's called Carrie, Soto is Back. And I feel like when Daisy Jones came out, everyone was talking about Daisy Jones. When Malibu Rising was coming out, everyone was talking about Malibu Rising. But I haven't heard almost anyone talk about this one. And it's coming out very soon, actually, I think. And I don't remember the date. But yeah, it's coming out soon, and I'm very excited for it.
What was that one called?
It's called Carrie, Soto is Back. And it's also set in her fake universe where Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones, and Malibu Rising are set in. So... I have no idea what it's about, but
whatever you do, though, you should buy the UK version.
Oh yeah, the US one is ugly.
30th of August.
Surprise, surprise.
The US one looks like marketing or like an advert for people going to a spin class.
But then it's not completely wrong because she's a tennis player, so maybe that's what they were going for. Yeah, I know it's not the vibe for the cover, but still.
It's funny. Anytime I've done US versus UK, and I'm like, is it just that it's greener? The grass is greener, and then it's like, no, we know ours are better. So I was like, yeah, it's rare.
I feel like I don't know, 5-10 years ago, the US was better. That I bought a few US covers, whereas now I like pretty much just stick to the UK because.
There were a few that I recall the UK were just kind of, I feel bad saying this to whoever was doing it, but there was some where they were kind of phoning it in where it was basically the exact same cover, which is like different colors or something. Like I think Seven Realms is a good example of that. If you look at the Seven Realms series, it just has like this scepter, I think, on every cover, and then slightly different colors. And I'm like, I don't think anyone even has that particular item. Like they have amulets, but I don't think anybody has this, whatever you want to call it, Una style of staff. Or like the Ash Princess series. I know I'm listing some YA series here, but the Ash Princess series, like theirs were okay. I think the US ones were better there. But yeah, I would say pretty much almost always the UK are better. And I'm always sad when I don't think to check first, but I'm not that sad because I don't mind.
That's I've been doing twice a year I do the UK versus US for new releases, or at least trying to, and comparing the two, because sometimes you don't even realize what the other cover is until you see them compared and you're like, oh, that's the same book.
Right. One, I will say we've had some pretty beautiful covers recently, like the Daughter of the Moon Goddess, both UK and US are beautiful. They're different. And then kind of somewhat similar art style of The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. Yeah. Those are beautiful. And the US, I might like the US one more just because the art style of the US one and the color choice is so unique because they're colors you wouldn't really expect. I should just pull it up here. Hold on. I'm kind of sad because the Fairy Loot special edition is also beautiful, but I'm like, I kind of liked the colors on the regular edition, the blue and yellow, and then the Fairy Loot had this kind of bright coral orange color. But let me pull this up really quick so that anybody that's watching and not just listening can see. Whoops, I pushed the wrong button. I do not want to share a video file. Whoops. No. Share screen. Gosh. Okay, so you can see hopefully here. I'll try to zoom in. There's the US and then the UK. I mean, both are so pretty, but there's like an interesting green yellow color in the US cover that how often do you see that color palette? Who thinks like yellow, green, blue, and pink? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although there's yellows and greens in this one too. But anyway, they're all there. Here's the Fairy Loot one. So it's pretty also. Anywho, a little sidetracked there. So one that it's not that no one's discussing, but it's not as hyped as a lot of the other fantasy books, and that would be the new Kingfisher book, which, you know, I can't really talk because I only just read, she's the author of Nettle and Bone, and it's What Moves the Dead, which is an Edgar Allan Poe retelling of one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories, and it's, I think, supposed to be somewhat fantasy horror like. The cover has this rabbit on it, not quite as disturbing looking as the cover of whatever Ninth Reign sequel is. Have you seen the cover of, I don't remember what the sequel's called,
like Hellbent or something like that?
The cover is like this
It's very disturbing.
So creepy.
Wait, so Kingfisher has 2 books out this year? Because I feel like Nettle and Bone only just came out.
I think it came out. I typed in Ninth Reign. That's not what I meant.
Ninth House.
Did I say Ninth Reign?
You did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My love for it just forced me to thank you for knowing what I meant, though.
Yeah.
Ninth Reign has great covers. None of them are disturbing. Okay, let me.
It's so cool that you got book number 2.
So
that is super cool.
Yeah, so they had emailed me. They emailed me way in advance, to let me know that they were gonna do special editions for Winnowing Flame, and they're like, "We know you're a huge fan, so we wanted to let you know." And I was like, I was really excited, and it was cute when people were like, "Did you see this?" They were tagging me, and I was like, "I know." But yes, they told me they wanted to give me the 2nd edition, and I was all excited and very moved. And it was funny because Sean was like, "You should be getting the 1st edition." So that's why I have that little unboxing video. And Sean joked, like, "You should have fought harder to get the 1st one." But I'm very, very, very honored to have gotten the 2nd one. It means a lot, and it's very pretty in person. It's quite large. I was surprised. Here's sorry to disturb everybody. The cover of the next Lee Bardugo book. So not quite to that degree. Let me show you What Moves the Dead.
I wonder what Waterstones are going to do with the colours, because I have the Waterstones one of Ninth House, where it's got that blue bit.
Right.
Where it's not just solid black; it's got that sort of
maybe the red from the bunny eyes.
That's so disturbing. I don't think I want this on my shelves.
I think some people did not like that it was albino, because it kind of furthers this idea that something with albinism is horrific, because there are like human beings that have anyway, so there were some people that found it to be troublesome for different reasons.
Oh, for me it's because it looks like a dead animal.
There's What Moves the Dead. I actually like
yeah.
I think this cover is cool. It seems kind of, somewhat disturbing, but also sort of horrifically pretty, if that makes sense, like morbidly pretty. But anyway, is this the UK cover here?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that one is the UK cover.
That's one of the few times I might like the US one more, just because I feel like we did the hand thing before. Anyway, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like trying so hard to find a US one, but that would be my pick though for one that I think I wish more people were talking about.
So I'm going to go with a book called Dauntless by Elisa A. Bonin. It comes out on the 30th of August. And in some ways, Elle, it actually reminds me of your book a little bit. It's completely different, but just in terms of the magic system, because there are these beasts that live in this world and these people that hunt these beasts and turn them like into armor. So if you haven't read Peace and Turmoil, there's a little bit of a correlation there. It just sounds a little bit like a dystopian, steampunky maybe style book. The cover is really cool too. And I don't think I've heard anybody talking about it. So
yeah, Dauntless, is that what you said it's called?
Dauntless, yeah, by Elisa Bonin with 2 N's in the middle. I don't know if you can, yeah.
I find it.
I can't see that very well.
I-N.
Bonnin, yeah.
Okay. I'll pull up for anybody that's curious here. because that sounds cool. I wasn't expecting you to say it's almost dystopian.
Yeah, so it says on the story graph, Ceri's world is defined by very clear rules. The beasts prowl the forest paths and hunt the people. The valiant explore the unknown world, kill the beasts, and gain strength from the armor they make from them.
That's cool.
And then something about the beast taking over or something. I don't know.
Maybe this is a reach, but that cover makes me think of Horizon, the video game.
Oh, yeah.
Not that the colors are similar, but just
The vibe.
Arrow. Yeah, the vibe. Okay, so another prompt here. We have one that's caught your eye. You've heard another person talk about it, and you're like, oh, it wasn't on your radar before, but now it is.
The Book of Gothel by Mary Mcmine, which I believe is a Rapunzel retelling, but from the perspective of the witch that puts Rapunzel in the tower. I believe it's like a standalone published by Orbit. That's all I really know about it. And I just feel like I've seen the cover around and I'm like, that looks quite cool. I'm intrigued, but I don't know that much else about it as yet.
Yep. That's one I'm excited for too.
The Books of Gothel?
Book of Gothel, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that one.
I'll pull up the cover for that one too.
Yeah, I think if I see the cover, I will remember.
And you probably will. Anyway, what's one for you, Patrick?
This one is actually out already, but it is still quite recent, and it is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. So this wasn't in my radar at first, but after a lot of people talk about this one, and yeah, now it's on my radar, and I think I have to check it out. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I've seen this one, The Book of Gothel.
I really want to read The Stardust Thief.
Yeah, Stardust Thief sounds so good though, and I think it is quite highly recommended for those who love A City of Brass. I think. Yeah.
Brenda, who we both follow on Instagram, Patrick and I both do. I know she just read it and loved the Stardust Thief.
Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she loved it. I quite liked it. I think it's very fun. I mean, I just pre-recorded a video of. Oh no, I think it's out now. I think it went up today. I guess I don't remember, but it's like cozy, fun kinds of fantasy books, and that one I mentioned because it just has this feeling of nostalgia to it, because I think it kind of goes back to that sort of quest fantasy. It's the 1001 Nights, and the way it ties those stories into it. Those are stories that many of us have heard before. So even though we haven't read this book before, there's something about it that I think pulls on that feeling, that same sort of feeling you get from something from your childhood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really fun. I think you'll like it. I don't know. Whoops, sorry, my chair is very squeaky. I don't know if you'll love it, but I think you'll have fun with it at the very least. I am excited for the sequel based off of, it would seem what, I don't want to say too much, just where the first one leaves off. I'm excited to see what we get in the next one.
Well, I was watching one of your videos, Elle, yesterday, the one where you've talked about anticipated releases, and the Book of Gothel was in there. So I'll pick another one, and it was the first binding. Actually, when you mentioned it, and you read the synopsis, I was like, that sounds awesome. So I immediately added it to my TBR. And I hadn't heard of it before. I haven't, except for now when we were talking about it, I hadn't talked about it with anyone, and it sounded interesting, so I picked that one. I also like the cover; it's so pretty. I love the colors in it.
The art style is very pretty.
Yeah,
when it looks very painted.
There's also this book that I cannot for the life of me remember the name now, but Shoshana recently read it and she loved it.
Yep.
Final Strife.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
yes.
That's what I was gonna say. For my
okay, go for it then. Perfect timing. Go for it.
So yeah, it just came out, and it was not on my radar until Shoshana picked it up, and she's been raving about it. So I think it's one that it's not even just like, oh, I saw some people but didn't know. I hadn't seen anybody really talking about it until just recently, and then more people have started to pick it up. And also, I was under the impression, just because of the way the art style is for the book in the US, I thought it was young adult. And I do read a mix of young adult and adult, but I thought it was YA, and apparently it's not. It's adult, but also I guess there's a decent amount of violence, and the world is quite unkind to certain groups of people. I think Shoshana was saying there's some people that have their tongues taken out, and I think they're I think a certain body part is removed. I want to say it's like their fingers or their hands or something. I haven't read it just yet, but I'm planning on picking it up. I'm actually going to be, she's going to reread it. She is rereading it already, even though she just read it. And so she has a chat started for that I need to pick up the book and start so I can listen to the messages. But yeah, The Final Strife. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that the character, when you first start, she has this addiction, and she is dealing with that. And I guess for a while, you're following her as she is trying to find the thing that she is addicted to. And then you're sort of getting world building in the first chunk of the book through that in somewhat of an organic fashion. But then after that, the greater plot starts to sort of unfold. But I don't quite know what the greater plot is. I just heard that it's really good.
I saw that in the bookshop today, and I'm definitely interested in reading it. Although I'm a bit weirded out by the US cover because her dress just disappears. Like, it starts off like you see the bits of her dress, and then her dress just becomes the background. So there is no like. If you start looking at the cover, you realize that they have not quite figured out where her clothing is meant to be.
I'm gonna grab mine. Hold on.
Like when you think about it, like you start looking at the cover and you'll realize that the dress just disappears. It just becomes the background.
I remember the UK cover for that one. It looks pretty
white.
Yeah, white
You're
and
right.
red.
The way it just sort of.
Oh, you have that one.
Yeah, it just came out, so I just got it. I've tabbed it up so I can read chunks each day. But yes, another example of a UK cover that is much better than.
And because I pulled it off the shelf in the bookshop, and then I realized the length of it. I was like, no, I can't. I'll leave that one for now. The Under the Dust Jacket is really pretty as well.
In the UK?
Yeah, like the end pages for it.
Gotcha. This one's just kind of a creamy. It looks like in person. It looks like old, almost stained. You can kind of see the way that the color fluctuates slightly. But anyway, yeah, I've heard very good things. But it is chunky. I mean, it's a tall book, and it's over 550 pages of a quite tall book. So if it were smaller, I'm sure it'd be longer. Anyway, caught your eye, Sophia.
I don't know that I have one that really fully fits this prompt, but I'm just going to say The Honeys by Ryan Lasalla, which comes out on the 18th of August. And it wasn't on my radar at all because it's a horror book and I just don't read horror books, but the cover is so cool. And basically it's like these twins and one of the twins dies and it's like an investigation and creepy stuff is happening. I don't really know, but for some reason I feel drawn to read this book that I would never normally read. So maybe I'll read it. Maybe I'll have nightmares for months. It's all for the cover, I think.
I mean, I enjoyed Small Favors, which is YA, so maybe that one wouldn't be as scary. But does the Honeys have anything to do with bees, like Small Favors?
I don't know. It's the kind of the sort of short description. A twisted and tantalizing horror novel set amidst the bucolic splendor of a secluded summer retreat.
Oh. Well.
Bucolic. Is that like plague?
That's what I thought.
No,
Isn't that bubonic?
No, yeah, bubonic is plague. Bucolic is more like it has to do with spring and flowers.
Look at this. That's being taught by the non-native English.
Because it's the same word in French, bucolique.
Okay.
That's why.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one.
It mentions beehives in the the synopsis, so I am guessing there is something relating to bees.
That makes sense if it's sort of spring and flower centered too.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Anyway, now you've got me wondering about it. You'll have to let me know. I can't handle it, Carrie.
Yeah, it says a group of girls dubbed the Honeys, named for the beehives they maintain behind their cabin. They are beautiful and terrifying, and Miles is certain they're connected to Caroline's death.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, that sounds interesting. You have piqued my interest. I very much am wanting to. There's just so many books.
I know, so many books.
Okay.
You guys are getting me so excited to read fantasy again, but also I'm like, but I already have so much on my shelves.
That's the problem. I mean, I like all of you, but oh my gosh, Worldhoppers videos. I'm just like, I already have so many things to read.
Mm-hmm.
And every Worldhoppers video I come away from with more to read.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's a problem.
yeah, it is. But I mean, it's okay. It's fine. I had those specific prompts. But are there any other books that you're really excited for that maybe didn't fit within those, or that you just wanted to mention?
I'm excited for The Ballad of Never After, the second book in the Stephanie Garber.
Oh man, I'm so excited for that one.
That one. I mean, I don't think it's like going to be a favorite, but I found the first book really fun and quick and easy to read. So I just feel like it's going to fit that void where I just need something to pick up and just binge.
Yes. I feel similarly. I mean, I did love the first one just because it's so ridiculous and charming and fun. And it's just like, it's so over the top. And I did end up reading the Caraval trilogy, and I think Caraval just is tropey, whereas I find Once Upon a Broken Heart to be more self-aware. And I ended up liking it more as a result, even though I read Caraval after having read Once Upon a Broken Heart. But Caraval is just like silly nonsense in a sense, like whimsical nonsense, and this one is too, but it just seems like she's bringing you in on the joke is almost what it feels like. With I know that this is the trope, but I know in the previous video we talked about how we felt that way somewhat about the love hypothesis. I don't think it's quite the same thing, because I almost think she's simultaneously sort of mocking the trope at the same time while using it in a sense. But I am very excited for the sequel. I already have so many editions of the first one, and I am like, well, I gotta match the editions. So now I'm gonna have so many editions of the second one, and she hasn't clarified if it's gonna be just a duology or a trilogy. And I'm like, that means it's gonna be more than 2 books, right? You're not that secretive about a dual. You're not like, will I write more? No, like you don't do that. So like, you're gonna write more books. Maybe it won't be a direct sequel to this one, but I'm like, you're for sure gonna have something else. But that's okay, because they're fun, they're cute, and they make me happy. So I'm with you, Abby. That's all. That's really all I needed to say. Were there any more for you, Patrick?
I don't know. I have so many books that I want to read. So many. It's so hard to choose. I think right now I have this book is out already, but it is Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. But this is the first grimdark Indian fantasy novel. Yeah, the author said that this is really the first Indian published grimdark fantasy novel, and I am very interested in giving this one a try. The cover art looks super gorgeous. The cover art is done by Michaela Alcaino. I think some of you know her probably. She's done a lot of great cover art for Harper Voyager, and she did a fantastic job on this one. Yeah.
Yes, so, I have seen this one, and I remember I sent myself, I think I saw it on Instagram, and I sent myself the link because I'm like, I don't want to forget about this one. Do you recall when that one comes out?
It's out already.
Oh, it's out already. Okay.
Yeah. It's just recently came out, actually. Sons of Darkness. Sons of Darkness.
That's right. You said, I just totally spaced. Yes, that cover is.
Oh, that looks nice.
Ooh, looks so good. Yeah.
It's gonna take me a bit if you see me looking down at my phone. There's another one with a great cover. I don't remember what it was, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. I feel like this video is part anticipated release, is part cover appreciation.
Always.
Yes, I often send myself. I have like an art account that I send myself a lot of art I like, but then also books I'm interested in. and I separate them because on my regular Instagram, I'm always sending myself like puppies and stuff. So anyway, it might take me a bit to find it, but if I do, I'll share in a sec here.
Yeah.
But Joanna, do you have other ones?
No, I don't. I think that was it. I'm trying to not. I don't know. No, I think we've said everything that I'd written down. Like I said, I've not been really keeping up with everything that's coming out. Well, I guess isn't the Atlas Paradox coming out this year?
Yes, I believe that's right.
I haven't finished the Atlas 6, but I read the first chunk of it and I really liked it. I need to go back to it, but I guess the Atlas Paradox then maybe.
The Atlas 6 is interesting. I mean, I haven't read a whole lot that's quite like it. It's like a vibe. It's like an aesthetic, I think the book is. Because I don't understand. I don't feel like there really are rules and limitations to the magic. It's almost like science is there's always something to discover, and so like that's how the magic feels in a sense to me. But I am interested in reading that sequel. I mean I have so many that I'm excited for. I have the one that I just did for July, August, and I'll do another one with I think a few more August releases and then September. I don't have them written down because I figured I'll probably have, I think there's like at least 20 or something, but there's a bunch. Do you have one, Sophia, or any more?
Yeah, I wanted to mention Not Good for Maidens by Tori Paulino, which is out on the 12th of September. And it's kind of a goblin market based book, which sounds really cool. And I really liked her book last year, Devil Makes 3. I think it was her debut book last year, and I thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And so I'm really looking forward to this one as well. And yeah, I don't think I've ever read... Maybe that's not true. No, that's not true. I was going to say I've never read a goblin market-based book, but actually thinking about it, I probably have, so forget that.
Was The Devil Makes 3 one of the book box books? It's got almost
yes, I think it was a Lumacrate, maybe. I want to say a Lumacrate. I don't think it was very late. But yeah, it was the one where the protagonist, she works in a library for kind of like magical books, and the son of the dean of the school that this library is the library of, they end up releasing some sort of devil thing.
So it's similar in at least initial synopsis to Sorcery of Thorns.
Kind of, but it's urban fantasy.
Okay.
So it's not quite so fantastical. It's a little bit, it errs more towards the horror style feel, but it's not scary. Or I was going to say, I didn't think it's scary. If I didn't think it's scary, it's not scary.
I've gone back through so many of the things I've sent myself, and I did find Sons of Darkness, but I can't find the other one I was thinking of. But I wonder if it was the same cover designer, because that cover designer does do... Oh, man, their George R. R. Martin ones are awesome.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, so pretty.
Some people are so talented. They also did the UK.
Says the lady who writes books, draws, and plays violin.
Well, I don't play violin like
Al
or something. I can't play the Tchaikovsky violin concerto. Okay. This cover artist did the Ariadne and Electra UK covers. If that brings me.
Those are pretty.
Those are so pretty.
Those are beautiful, yeah.
Especially, I think I might like the Electra one more. Anyway, so, well, I think we went over quite a few different ones and took some ventures on talking about covers and arcane. But anyway, this was fun. There are just so many coming out that it's hard to keep track. But I will be looking to Sophia about the honeys, because that sounded really interesting, and like an adult version of Small Favors. It sounds very creepy, and all the ones everybody mentioned sounds good. Anyway, if anybody has any more when you're watching that you want to mention that's coming out in the second half of the year, let us know. But thanks for joining us. Everybody's channels will be linked. We did back-to-back videos, so a special thank you, especially to everybody for being willing to sit for a couple hours to film. But thank you. We'll see everybody later.
Thank you.
Bye.